Hello everyone, how's it going? In this video I'll be looking at the town overview for the dungeon. Dungeon kind of has a reputation for being very expensive and very weak until you get black dragons. When you take a step back and look at kind of an overall picture, they aren't that bad. Most of their weakness comes in the fact that they have archers right in the 3rd and 4th tier monster. So, like all archers, they are statistically below average, but you do have the ranged attack, so that's your trade-off. So, looking at the early game, your troglodytes and your harpies. Troglodytes are, for the most part, below average. You have better than average attack and damage, but below average everything else. And harpies, below average on everything except speed. You have 1 minimum damage. It's the only level 2 to have that. There might be 1 or 2 other level 2s that have only 1 for their minimum damage. I did include the Infernal Troglodyte because I was surprised at how well it upgrades. You go from having below average health, defense, and speed to having above average health, attack, defense, and max damage. So definitely worth the upgrade because it allows you to have greater attack and defense, which is just a multiplier on the damage. So the Infernal Troglodytes have much more staying power compared to the unupgraded version of them. Beholders are your first archer, and they have above average attack, below average everything else. Your minimum damage is also above average. But they are one of, if not the most expensive level 3. If you include neutral monsters, they are not the most expensive, but the 9 different towns, they are definitely up there in price, and you're not getting a lot statistically for that price. Your mid-game, Medusas have the worst health and attack, which is disappointing that they have bad attack, so all this damage is going to get reduced unless if you're attacking low-level monsters. But because they have above average minimum damage, you're going to do decent damage on average. You just can't really damage higher tier monsters with them. The Minotaur is actually kind of the strength of the dungeon town. Great health, best attack, best damage. Everything's above average, to be honest. The Minotaur is a very, very, very solid unit. Definitely worth the price. Manticores, on the other hand, not so much. You get a flyer that you can kind of send in on a suicide charge, but you are below average with everything, so I hope you weren't planning on killing something with your Manticores. The Red Dragons, you have above average health, attack, defense, above average everything. You're not the strongest because the Angels tend to be overpowered like that, but as far as compared to average, your Red Dragons are definitely very powerful creatures. Definitely worth their cost. And then the late game, Minotaur Kings, very strong unit, tons of damage. Attack is best, max damage is the best, above average on everything. You definitely want to get a lot of Minotaur Kings, haste them, get them to the front line. They are your strength. Scorpicores are somehow even worse than Manticores. Statistically, they're probably better, but you have the lowest damage of all level 6 creatures. Highest speed to make up for it, but that just means that you get to go snipe a level 2 archer with them. Definitely not something you want going toe-to-toe unless if you have a numbers advantage, because statistically they're just bad. Black Dragons, highest health with 300, above average everywhere. It's definitely just something that you want to have in your lineup. The magic immunity is great. Above average stats makes it even better. So the summary, I wrote the Troglodyte, but it really is the Infernal Troglodyte. It's a surprisingly good level 1 unit. If you get haste right away, you can definitely win some fights in week 1 and 2 and not lose a lot of units in the process. However, your Harpy, Beholders, and Medusas don't really do a lot of damage, so you kind of have to rush your Minotaurs. And then once you have Minotaurs and obviously Black Dragons, you stand a pretty good chance. So the dungeon is definitely a late game town. You want to kind of hold your own until you have enough Black Dragons and Minotaur Kings to fight everyone else out. But it kind of takes a while to get to that point. So that concludes the dungeon. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.